Okay, muchachos, I'm gonna show you how I'm tying this little emerger. It's a fun little tie, super easy. All we're gonna use is black 70 denier thread, little black, what is this, sparkle braid. You can see that's kind of a peacock, green peacock color. The hook we're gonna use is a Fire Hole 315. They're curved kind of nymph hook. This is the one that fly fish food guys use on their foam merger. So I like this hook a lot. The tail on this guy is just some red midge material, midge body. And then we've got some body wool just in a white. All right. Okay. I think that's all the materials we use. Oh, and small silver wire. Okay, let's get some thread on the hook to start. This is a trick that I've learned recently. When you start trying to tie and you're trying to start the thread on the top of the hook, that stuff can slide around pretty easy. Sometimes it comes to the front, sometimes it goes to the back. You can see how that happens. Well, bring your left hand with the tag and bring your wire under the hook and then just crisscross those over, and it's just a little easier, faster way to start that thread where you want it without it sliding around. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to give just a little bit of a thread base here. Not much, just easy like this. All right, now this body material is pretty stretchy. So what we want to do is cut on an angle already. We might be trimming this off just a little bit more. We just want to capture that guy. Bring that thread forward. We want this thing to taper. There goes my thread. We want it to taper just like a midge would. Oh, saved the day. We want it to kind of taper a little bit because you can see on this fly how it appears to taper just like a midge body would. So that's the goal, and we want to have that little bit of a taper. You can see I cut that guy on an angle. That's so that as I get to the end here, I don't have just a big fat square end of tubing to wrap over top of. And because I broke my thread, I've got a little bit of dorky stuff on here. I know you guys won't do that when you tie this fly. You're much better than me. Okay, so I'm gonna give this guy just a little bit more bulk up here. Build that up just a little bit. Looks a little more smooth now. Looking pretty good. Now this guy, you can trim this off shorter when you need to, once you kind of gauge how long you want that tail to look. My tail is long-ish, so you can kind of see where I've got it. I can always trim this a little bit more if I need to, but I'm going to trim it on an angle. And remember, it's going to shrink back down after you stretch it a little. So Don't worry too much about getting it perfect. Okay, now let's tie in some wire. And I'm just gonna put this right on the top of the fly. Get this guy tied down all the way back to the back of where the tail begins. Okay. Now we can bring it forward. And tie this guy off. Now, take a bit of the sparkle braid, and this is kind of a tricky part. It's not too bad, but we want four strands thick on this stuff. So I just take one strand and double it over. Grab those by the end and then cut this. Do that again. Cut them again. Now I've got 4 strands. I'm going to tie that on, and then just like you do with any kind of a wing pattern on a fly, we're going to make this go in a figure 8 pattern so we can get these little legs. These aren't really wings, they're going to have more like legs. But we want those to sit side to side, so give that a few figure 8 wraps so that it stays in place. Piece of cake. Time to breathe. Tells me I need to go through my deep breathing exercises. Okay. Now we've got that in place. Now I like to tie on this next bit with, I don't even know what you call this. What is this on a midge? The bubble, the little gas bubble that they form. I like this to be double the amount of yarn that comes in one strand. So I'm going to cut a little bit, match that up with the strand again. Just like this. So I've got double, and then I'm going to cut it. Okay. Now I'm going to tie this in behind the legs. And then go on a figure 8 pattern again. You can see how I'm coming around that. Then around the top again in a figure 8. And I like to do it this way because then it makes sure that these white yarn fibers are pointing up. That makes it so that the rest of the fly down here is gonna hang down in the water. Instead of if we made this come straight up like a parachute, then the fly doesn't ride in the water quite like we want it. So cut those off close. So all we've got is that yarn fiber going forward out toward the eye of the hook. Okay. A few more wraps to lock this down. whip finish here. Then we'll trim those little legs off. And we're done. Ha, missed. Okay, and we've got leg materials going to the side. We've got our little yarn fibers coming up, forming a bubble. Now I want to cut these off just slightly shorter because they're legs, they're not wings. And it's just giving us just that tiny bit of flash, like that. They look like legs up toward the upper half of the thorax, and we're all good. I'm going to be trying this fly again with a thorax, and I'm going to make that out of the UV peacock eye, the eye stub. I'm going to try this thing again, and we'll make a little thorax here out of that stuff instead of using the sparkle braid. So anyway, that's how I do it. See ya.